First, giving all praises and honor to our Father, Yahweh, Bashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Double honors to KD, my Lord, my King, our Shepherd, for edifying our family in this truth, using the scriptures, current events, preparing us to get out of this captivity. The water to you, King. Shalom, shalom to my Rod of Iron family, my Israelite family. My name is Mahir Malachi, and welcome to the Aqua channel, Daughters with Daggers, where we continuously seek edification from the truth of the scriptures. So I wanted to do a video on this lesson that I did with some sisters that are on the Discord. That's some of you that are not. So I wanted to share this with you guys as well. So today's lesson is on wisdom, the origin of it, and the cost of what it takes to get it, okay? So let's start. So we're going to start with the origin first. So the origin, we're going to go to the wisest man ever, which was King Solomon, okay? So Solomon sacrificed 1,000 bulls for wisdom. Because he didn't ask for, riches, he didn't ask for material things. Some people would ask for all the cars, all this stuff. He asked for wisdom. Okay, he asked for wisdom because he was the king, and he knew that in order for him to reign, in order for him to lead effectively the nation, he would need wisdom to do so. So the Most High blessed him with that, and he blessed him with an overabundance of it. So much of it that, that's why he's the wisest man. He's able to, he wrote a lot of books that we read today. We have Ecclesiastes, and we have Ecclesiasticus. And then we also have words of wisdom of Solomon, Salah. And we also have Proverbs. So all those books came from the wisdom that the Most High provided Solomon. Okay, so let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 1 through 2 Chronicles chapter 1 verse 1 through 12. So 2 Chronicles chapter 1 verse 1 through 12, and it reads, "And Solomon the son of David was strengthened in his kingdom, and the Lord his power was with him, and magnified him exceedingly." Verse 2, "Then Solomon spake unto all Israel, to the captains of thousands and of hundreds, and to the judges, and to every governor in all Israel, the chief of the fathers. So Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon, for there was the tabernacle of the congregation of power, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, had made in the wilderness. But the ark of power had David brought up from Kirjath-jearim to the place which David had prepared for it, for he had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem." Verse 5, "Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, had made, he put before the tabernacle of the Lord, and Solomon and the congregation sought unto it." Verse 6, "And Solomon went up thither to the brazen altar before the Lord, which was at the tabernacle of the congregation, and offered 1,000 burnt offerings upon it." Verse 7, "And in that night did power appear unto Solomon, and said unto him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto power, Thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his head. Now, O Lord, power, let thy promise unto David my father be established, for thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in multitude." Verse 10, "Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is so great?" In verse 11, "And power said to Solomon, Because this was in thine heart, and thou hast not asked riches, wealth, or honor, nor the life of thine enemies, neither yet hast asked long life, to extend his life. You didn't ask that, but hast asked wisdom and knowledge for thyself, that thou mayest judge my people, over whom I have made thee king. In verse 12, wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee, and I will give thee riches and wealth and honor, such as none of the kings have had that have been there before thee, neither shall there any after thee have the like. All praises. So in this passage, you hear that Solomon, the Most High, asked him, what is it that you would like to have? And he said, wisdom. And because of his faith and his heart, for the Most High, for power, he gave him an over and abundance of wisdom. He also wound up giving him everything else that he didn't ask for, like the riches and the honor and all those things that he did not ask for. He still was provided by the Most High. All praises. Okay, so let's go to 1 Kings chapter 3, 16 through 28. And we're going to look at an example of wisdom that Solomon actually used during this time. So it's 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16 through 18. I'm sorry, Salak, 16 through 28. So let's go. 1 Kings. First Kings chapter 3, verse 16 through 28. So verse 16, then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my lord, I said, and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. So they both had a baby in the same house. And it came to pass, on verse 18, the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. Okay. Verse 19, and this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. So she swapped babies. Okay, she knew her baby was dead, so she went and swapped the baby with the one that was alive. Verse 21, and when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, the one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. See what our king had to go through? Yes, our king KD still goes through some similar things, okay? Some of the craziest things. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two. So the king said, Bring the child here. I'm going to cut the child in half and give you one half, and I'm going to give you the other half. Then spake the woman, whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O Lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. Please don't. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. So one mother that said that is her child, that's the one that had the dead child replaced with the dead child. She said, No, stop. Please do not harm the baby. I want, what, go ahead and let her have him. I'd rather, please don't slay him. Let her have him then. Then you have the other harlot that was like, no, if I can't have him, she can't have him. Let's split him in half, right? So then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. Verse 28, and all of Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of power was in him to do judgment. So this is an example of Solomon using his wisdom that the Most High provided him, right? So he knew any mother with a heart for their child was going to cry out and say, no, please don't kill my baby. So he knew that when that lady said that, I'd rather you give her the baby instead of please don't slay it. Give it to her. He was like, you're the mother. The other one had no connection because she's like, cut them in half. I'll have half, you have half. So that goes to show that her connection, her heart, that was not her child because there was no connection to it. So Solomon knew that and used his wisdom to make judgment. All praises. So wisdom is primarily for the men of the Lord. However, some women have been deprived of wisdom. So let's go to Job chapter 39, verse 17. So Job chapter 39, verse 17, and it reads, because power hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. Okay, so because she is deprived of wisdom, she is not going to have any understanding at all. She's not going to understand this truth because he's not giving it to her. If he doesn't, so you have to have, in order to have wisdom, you have to have understanding. It's a lot. In order for you to have the understanding, you have to have wisdom. Okay. So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14 through 15. Salak, sisters. So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14 and 15. I have to, my king came through and wanted to make sure he was okay. So 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14 through 15. That's what happens when you don't have your glasses, sisters. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of power, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. But he that is spiritual judgeth all things, yet he himself is judge of no man. Okay, so the natural man lacks wisdom. And anytime you tell them something, okay, so going back to the jab, hopefully I can say that, the jab, because they'd be so quick to delete you. They took, when we was telling people, don't do that, you don't want to do that, you don't want to, do that, have that happen, because we know what it is, right? We know that's the mark, correct? So people looked at us like we were foolish because they did not have that wisdom like we have that wisdom, right? They lacked an understanding and their hearts are wicked, right? So when you're lacking understanding and when you're not provided the wisdom, then that means your heart is wicked. It's not okay. So this is why in Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, it states that our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Okay, because without having that, like I said, without having that wisdom, you don't have an understanding. So you just clueless. Okay, pretty much the people that we have around us are just really clueless. Okay, so we have to have understanding along with wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing, and we have wisdom. Sorry, it's a lot. Bring my book closer. Like I said, I left my glasses at home. I left them at work. And in walks the king. Wisdom is the principal thing. We have wisdom first before we have understanding. Wisdom can be compared to the what. Okay. Understanding is the who, the when, where, how, and why. Okay. So in order for us women of the Lord to get wisdom, our hearts and minds have to be turned solely over to the Most High. Our hearts, our minds have to be turned solely on to the Most High. That means that we have to start sacrificing some things in order. So this is the cost. This is the cost for us to get wisdom. Okay. So wisdom comes with a cost because we have to turn from our own way of thinking and follow the commandments of the Most High, of our Father, Yahweh Shai. We hear, Salat, we have to first fear him. Okay. So we have to first fear him, and we have to follow his commandments, and we have to have our own way of thinking. Con? Okay. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10. And it reads, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding." We wholeheartedly have to agree with him, our Father, Yahweh Shai. Okay? The price for wisdom is sacrificing our worldviews, transforming our minds, our way of thinking, which is a sacrifice. Okay? Sacrificing our carnal and worldly ways. Okay? I used to be involved in a sorority, Sigma, Gamma, Rho, whatever you want to call it. So the purpose of me getting into that is because I wanted the sisterhood, right? I love the point of all of them. They appeared to be sisters. So when I saw that was what was steering me, because of the oath and everything that had to take place was pushing me away from my father, I denounced it. I sacrificed it. I turned away from it. Okay. I have a sister. Hopefully she don't mind me saying her name, but I have a sister. I won't say her name. She'll know who she is. Who sacrificed from being with her worldly family to be with us. She left just like Abraham did. So when Most High told her to leave and gave her all the information and tell her how to do it, she did it. She was obedient. So let's go to Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. So Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. And it reads, "Now the Lord has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee." Okay, so this actually is the same thing that happened to the sister. It was time for her to leave that wicked place, okay, that she called home with her worldly family. So because she was able to do that and turned away from them, and he saw that her heart was turned on to him and it was solely for him, she is now gaining wisdom. Okay. I had another sister who had to make a decision between going to another group of people or staying here with the Rod of Iron family. And she sacrificed her friendship and relationship with others to stay here. Her heart was solely turned on Yahweh Shai, and being with her Rod of Iron family. And because of that, she is also gaining wisdom. Okay. So why we don't, Salat, trying to read my notes and share this with you guys. I don't have my glasses. When we don't sacrifice these ways that we that are not of power, so when we don't sacrifice things that are not of him, he will not provide us with wisdom. He's not going to give it to us. So that is why we see grown women still doing stupid stuff today. So you got rap music. You got the WAP and all the songs that are very nasty and degrading, where you got to gyrate and you're showing your parts and you're doing all these things. And you're pretty much dancing, calling yourself a hoe, and you calling yourself a bitch and sluts. They lack wisdom. Then you have the ones that post sexual innuendos on Facebook, or posting sexual things, or sending sexual texts to get men to acknowledge them or see them, or being promiscuous. They lack wisdom. That's a lack of wisdom. When you see the love in hip hop, you see anybody in TikToks, you see anybody doing any and everything for likes, for fame, for to be noticed. They lack wisdom. Okay, so I say this to you, sisters. It's time for us to, we're at the end. pretty much if we have not gotten it by now, being that we're at the end of this captivity, we're tapping on the door to get out of here, then something's wrong. Something is definitely wrong. So either we just listening and we're not listening to hear and get an understanding, which is wisdom, because like I said, they work together, or we just hear. We're just seeing to see, we're just here as spectators to see if it really is going to happen or not. So we have to take heed to those things. So if you're feeling that you're seeing or you know someone that you're constantly trying to share knowledge and information with, they're not going to get it if they're not given wisdom by our Father. Okay, so that ends the lesson right now for wisdom. This is probably the first installation of it. There's so much to wisdom that we can share. So I want to tell you that I love you with my whole heart, my sisters. I hope that you meditate on this word. I hope that you chew it. I hope that you use it. I hope that you're listening to gain understanding, and you're open and doing things so that way that the Father can provide you with that wisdom. So I hope to see you soon. I love you. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Love you, my Aquas. See you soon. Shalom.